Use of royal association through Meghan's Archewell Foundation are now under legal review. As a result, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Harry and Meghan, have agreed to divorce. Further details will be addressed at an official royal press conference.
What if the biggest royal breakup of our time didn't start with betrayal, but with paperwork? And what if a charity meant to do good became the very thing that pulled a marriage and a royal legacy apart? All right, take a breath, because this one is a slow burn. And yeah, it starts quietly, almost boringly. The kind of thing nobody clicks on, until suddenly everyone's staring at the wreckage, asking how the hell we got here. So picture this: California, a routine charity registry check. Dusty files, annual reports, renewal fees, the boring stuff. The kind of thing accountants love and everyone else ignores. And then, silence. Not the calm kind, the kind that feels like the air pressure dropping before a storm. Archewell, Harry and Meghan's foundation, flagged as delinquent. Not just, oops, late filing, no, barred from raising or spending money. A full stop, a red flag the size of Buckingham Palace. Now, if this were literally any other charity, it might have been fixed with a phone call, a check in the mail, a quiet apology. But this wasn't just any charity. This was Archewell, a foundation wrapped in royal titles, global causes, Netflix cameras, and a carefully polished image of compassion with a spotlight. And that's where things got uncomfortable. Because suddenly people weren't just asking, where's the paperwork? They were asking, what exactly has this foundation been doing? Before we go any further, real quick, if you want updates like this without the palace filter, hit subscribe, tap the like button, and stick around. This story keeps mutating, and trust me, the next chapter always drops when you least expect it. So, back to that delinquency notice. Early May 2024. California officials cite missing annual reports and renewal fees. Archewell is officially not in good standing. Sources later say a $200 check was mailed and somehow vanished into the bureaucratic void. Lost, unprocessed, misplaced. Pick your excuse. But here's the thing. That explanation didn't calm anyone down. It did the opposite. Because once regulators started pulling threads, more things started coming loose. Insiders, speaking very quietly and very anonymously, started whispering about something much bigger than a lost check. Allegations that Archewell wasn't just operating sloppily, but was leveraging royal association in ways that blurred the line between charity and brand building. And that's a dangerous line, especially when your brand includes titles, global recognition, and a family institution that survives on public trust. Suddenly, this wasn't a clerical issue, it was a credibility problem. Audits followed, reviews, scrutiny, the kind where every email, every donor pitch, every public appearance gets reread with fresh eyes. One official later described it as opening a Pandora's box in Montecito, which is not what you want anyone saying about your non-profit. At the same time, palace aides were watching from across the Atlantic, quietly, carefully, because while Harry and Meghan technically stepped back from royal duties, the association never fully disappeared. Titles don't just evaporate, and neither does perception. And then came the moment nobody expected to hear out loud. Princess Anne stepped in. No fluff, no soft language, no ongoing discussions, just a blunt statement that hit like a dropped plate in a silent room. Allegations regarding misuse of royal association through Meghan's Archewell Foundation were now under legal review, and as a result, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex had agreed to divorce. Let that sit for a second. That wasn't tabloid gossip. That wasn't sources say. That was the monarchy drawing a line in permanent ink. And if you know anything about Princess Anne, you know she doesn't speak unless she means every word. She's the family enforcer, the the one who warned early on that Meghan might see royal life as a platform instead of a job, the one who never bought into the fairy tale framing. To Anne, this wasn't a surprise, it was confirmation. But to the public, it felt like a trapdoor opening beneath a story we thought we understood. Because rewind a few years, Archewell launched in 2020 with huge expectations, a post-royal legacy, compassion, service, global impact. It was meant to be the proof that Harry and Meghan could thrive independently. And for a moment, it looked like it worked. Donations poured in, over $13 million in 2021. Then they didn't. By 2022, donations dropped to around $2 million. Losses mounted, over $500,000 gone. People started quietly asking questions. Where's the money? What's the long-term plan? Is this sustainable? Most of those questions stayed in the background until that delinquency notice dragged everything into the light. And then the legal side escalated. By mid-2025, California's Attorney General reportedly stepped in with a full-scale lawsuit, not just against the foundation, but directly against Meghan. Allegations that Archewell solicited donations by implying royal endorsement, that funds were used in ways that intertwined too closely with personal branding, media deals, and high-profile partnerships. 7-figure fines were floated, potential shutdown of Archewell, even personal liability. One source compared the investigation to forensic archaeology. Every layer peeled back revealed another uncomfortable connection. Donor money here, media exposure there. Charity and celebrity tangled so tightly it was hard to tell where one ended and the other began. And yes, Meghan's team pushed back hard. They said everything was compliant, payments were made, any issues were clerical. A lost check, a late filing, nothing more. But when lawsuits drag on, explanations don't matter as much as headlines. Meanwhile, the marriage was already cracking. Harry spending more time in the UK, chasing security appeals, reconnecting with causes like Invictus. Meghan firmly planted in California, focused on business ventures, Hollywood circles, and building her own brand. Separate lives, separate priorities, separate narratives. By late 2025, divorce odds weren't even whispers anymore. They were being quoted like weather forecasts. Behind closed doors, arguments reportedly exploded over responsibility. Harry saw the foundation issue as a fixable mistake. Meghan saw sabotage, leaks, betrayal. Therapy sessions tried and failed to bridge the gap. And then Princess Anne delivered the final shove. Sources say she confronted Harry directly. No emotion, no dramatics, just an ultimatum. Choose duty or continue drifting into chaos, not just for yourself, but for your children, for the legacy you're leaving behind. Shortly after, divorce papers were filed quietly in California. Shared custody, clean asset splits. Meghan kept her ventures. Harry refocused on a restructured charitable path tied to Invictus. On paper, it looked civil. Emotionally, not even close. Friends described Harry as hollowed out, looking at old photos, wondering when the dream shifted. Meghan stayed publicly composed, but insiders say the private toll was heavy. This wasn't just a breakup, it was the collapse of an identity they built together. Inside the palace, lines hardened. Princess Anne, Prince William, and Duchess Sophie reportedly closed ranks. No return without reform, no reconciliation without accountability. King Charles leaned heavily on Anne's judgment, even as the situation broke his heart. Hollywood allies faded fast. Invitations stopped coming. Silence replaced enthusiasm. Social media, meanwhile, went nuclear. Hashtags exploded. Memes flooded timelines. Polls showed public support for the Sussexes collapsing, while Anne's reputation surged as the monarchy's truth-teller. Editorials were brutal. Opportunism, hubris, a cautionary tale. Even international partners questioned whether goodwill had been exploited. At the official press conference, palace spokespeople framed the divorce as mutual, focused on co-parenting, but body language experts noticed the frost. This wasn't reconciliation, this was containment. So, what does it all mean? A monarchy tightening its boundaries, a prince further exiled, a duchess stepping fully into a solo chapter, and a charity scandal that started with a missed deadline and ended a modern royal fairy tale. Was it inevitable, or was it avoidable? That's the question I want you to wrestle with. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit like if this breakdown helped you see the bigger picture. Subscribe if you want the next chapter when it leaks, because it always does. And genuinely, thanks for spending your time here with me.